thank you so much for the invitation because I think membership journey, let's say, it is always something that is so personal, right? So this is tonight also why I share something that is very personal. I will speak very openly to you, and I also hope that you dare to ask all of your questions, because talking about the membership journey is not just something very personal, but it's also something that you discover throughout your JCI career very often. So I'm not sure about you guys, but in JCI, sometimes when people talk about when they entered the organization, they also add a second date, and it is when I understood the organization. So I entered in 2012 and I understood it in 2014. And when we tell this to our new members or aspiring members, they always be like, how complicated can it be? Actually, it's not that complicated. The thing about the membership journey is it is a buffet, and it is what you make out of it. So here's the disclaimer. What I tell you today about the membership journey and also my very personal journey, it's not like a blueprint. It's not like, oh, this is how you do it, this is how you reach the top, or some kind of mindset. It is more like, how can you make the most out of your time until you're 40 in this wonderful organization? And how can you also use this knowledge in your everyday life? Because this is, in my opinion, what it means to develop leaders. We don't only want to have leadership opportunities in JCI, but we also want to be you leaders outside of the organization. So this is also, of course, why I will talk a bit about how can you apply it, how can you use all the knowledge. Thank you for joining tonight, and thank you also for giving me the opportunity to answer questions that I wish somebody would have told me earlier. So this is the aim for tonight, that I really like to give you an input and also an insight on how it feels to be in certain positions. What do you learn in certain positions? What kind of mindset do you develop, and how can you carry all those treasures to the world? That is what it is all about, because in the end, it is all about development. It is all about people, not the positions behind it. The title of today's training is Membership Journey, or as I like to call it, Enjoy the Ride and Make the Most out of the Development Opportunities. Because if it's not fun, why do it? That is one thing that JCI taught me as well. Of course, not everything is fun, but you also have to think, where's my learning development? Where's my opportunity in that? So it's not just about being altruistic, it's also about what can I take out of it to share these gifts with the world. So that is also why spotting those development opportunities is a very important part of the membership journey. What are the objectives? So what do I promise you to learn today, and what is the aim that we're going for? I want you to know possible steps and also the meaning of the membership journey. So what does it mean to be part of this organization, but not just from the organization itself, but from a development point of view? Then we want to talk about strategies to involve members and to let them return. So very often we talk about how can we get new members? And that is indeed a crucial question if you want to sustain as an organization in this world. But what do we do when they're here? So how we will involve them? How will we develop them? How can we send them on their very own membership journey and send us on our membership journey? And last but not least, I also want to get you inspirations on how to find your very own way. So what is in for you? What is your way? And how can you use your skills also outside of the organization? That's why I want to showcase also my journey in a few minutes. And of course, in the end, we will apply everything, because it's not just about the training, but all the knowledge you will take to your worlds. So first question, because this is a training, is why have you joined JCI? Very good. So for those who don't know Mentimeter, those words that have been named several times, they become bigger. So you see, many people said, I joined for fun, I joined for development, and I joined for networking. Then we have get to know people, personal development, we have events, we have, I would say, speeches, we have to learn new things, we have meet like-minded individuals. This is a part that you can really have to keep in mind, because why you join the organization might be the reasons others are joining the organization. Once you are in the organization, you tend to forget about that. because we think, oh, they all come for the trainings or they all come for the things that we were hooked up with. But that is not the case. Sometimes they don't even know about it. And that's why we also have to rephrase our questions. Why have people joined it? Why have I joined it? And maybe I could use this also in my arguments to engage others to join the network. And let's be honest, when you joined JCI, what were the things people said to you? Yeah, I think that is also again something to remind yourself. What do we tell? Because sometimes it's again, honestly spoken, sometimes it sounds like a cult. You just be like, it's gonna be fun. I cannot tell you any further. Just join. And indeed, it's like make your own experiences. But just remember, did it sound very convincing? Did it sound very like, is there really something in for me, or do I join for the fun or whatever? So be aware what kind of what part of the journey you will share, and short information as well. Be aware of what kind of pictures you share about your work and the organization, because this also shapes the perception of other people. What are we doing here, and what are you learning there, for example? So if your boss sends you and you only share the pictures of some parties, then he might question that as well. Because this is always what the organization shows outside, but also our development shapes, right? So, which brings us to the big question: what is the membership journey? And yeah, so why is it so important to be aware of that? Why have you joined the meeting tonight, or why have you joined the training tonight? Maybe it's because we have some people who have been national presidents here. We have current national presidents in the room. We have maybe some new members in the room. And still there's a question, even on a different level maybe, but how can we talk about it? How can we share the opportunities that are there? How can we make people aware of the development that we have? And sometimes we even forget that the knowledge we gain throughout this crazy journey, we can also use in the real life, right? So I'd like to quote President Victor on that, because he always claimed, guys, you're talking about JCI and the real life, but this feels really real to me. And this is exactly what it's about. This is your experience. It is a safe space indeed, but it is the experience that shapes you as a person. And believe me, I am not the person that entered JCI 10 years ago. I am not. And this is something I'm very grateful for. And this is why being aware of this journey that we're going through is also something that not just shapes the organization or that shapes the positions we have or something like that, but it's more about, it shapes personalities, it shapes leaders in the world that we are living in. And especially in those days where there is so many things are moving and whereas the world is so developing so incredibly fast, it is up to us to make a stand in our respective countries. And that is also why we should be aware of all the qualities that we need for that. So you read about skills development, you read about the things that you can do also as a position, but yeah, nobody wrote power, right? So did anybody join JCI to be powerful? That's not what you're aiming for. So it's always about, what does the position bring? What accesses can I have through that? What kind of impact can I have within this respective position? What kind of things will I learn when I take over responsibility? Nobody comes to JCI to get another job. Nobody comes to JCI to work even more with a less fun environment. That's not what it's about, right? So it is all about finding the development opportunities that will foster your development, but also the people around you. And to my discovery, it was that in the beginning, so the first phase when you're coming to JCI, you'd be like, okay, so what is this? I don't know if I belong here. I don't know if I feel comfortable with all of this. They have so many strange words I don't understand. What the heck is an SPEC? So what is an EC? What is an NP? What kind of language do they speak, right? So those are the first things we discover. We just discover, okay, there's a world behind that door that I just entered. May it be the literal door in the JCI house in Iceland, or may it be like the door. Okay, there's something that I need to discover. And I think maybe also in your development in the very early times when you came there, somebody took you by the hand. And when you are a bit further in this process and on your membership journey, you will be the one taking others by the hand, because that's the next step. At first, there's confusion, there's so many things going on. And then there will be some kind of enlightenment. There will be some try and errors. You're trying to find out, okay, is that something for me? Should I do debating? I don't know. I never did it, and I don't like to discuss in public. Who does? Right? And then you try it and you find out, oh, maybe that's cool. And on the next stage, you will be the one maybe guiding others, telling them about how cool debating is, telling them how much you grew because of you joined those programs, because you dared to take over responsibility in a project you might have never thought you will. And you might have never imagined that you could be good at it because nobody ever told you and you could never try. So first step is confusion, then you find out what happens and you take other people by the hand and show them what to do. And when you're a bit longer in the organization, again, you will get an eye for it. And you will get an eye for the people with a spark in their eyes. And you'll be like, you should be a debater. I see that. You should go there. And when you're going further, you will not just be the one who shows them what is there. You will not just be the one who guides others. You will maybe be the one who creates those development opportunities, who becomes a trainer, who becomes a national president, who becomes somebody who shapes the organization and who creates development opportunities for others. And that is, in my perspective, it doesn't matter what kind of position it is. You don't even need a position to have impact. Same with leadership. You don't have to have a position to be a leader. And that is the main thing about membership journey that I want to bring across. You guide somebody, you can help somebody, but in the beginning you have to accept the help yourself. And in the end, you might be able to create something for somebody else. And be aware, because the further you come and when you create those development opportunities, you might never know how many people's lives you have touched. And that is magical. That is, I saw that we also have a senator in the room, which is you have stories, lady, I can imagine. And you may not even know how many people's lives you have touched by just sharing a nice word, by just giving one small piece of advice to a person who respectively needed it in that very moment. And be aware that even in the beginning, you can do that. And be aware of this is also what the membership journey makes, because it's not just the membership journey of going from A to Z. It's like we're all developing together and we're all helping each other to develop. And some of us become senators, some of us become political positions, some of us go into the training session, some of us will organize great projects, and everything of that is perfectly fine. It's just about finding your own way and finding the way how you can maybe give something back that you have received in the very beginning of your membership journey. That's a very nice note you also added. It's about finding your mentors. And I can tell you, some of the mentors will find you without you asking for it. There will be people giving you advice. There will be people giving you lessons, whether you ask for it or not. So it's always your decision if you want to learn from that experience. It's always your decision. Are you able to learn from that experience the day they come to you, right? So yeah. And also be aware, you can be that mentor, no matter how far you've come. It's not a question, okay, I'm just a member for half of a year, but maybe you know something else. It's really nice also to understand that sometimes people who are not like us, and especially those who are not like us, are the greatest mentors for us, because they see the world in a different way. They see parts of the world that are not obvious for us, or they can give you advice that you couldn't have because you never had those kind of thoughts before. And they're also, I can only tell, the training program of JCI, especially the academies, have been golden to me. I cannot tell how many learnings I had as a participant, but especially also as a trainer, because that's the nice part of it. You never go home without learning. Even as a trainer, that is always so nice to hear all those stories. And it's also very inspirational or inspiring to be part of this development still as a trainer. So yeah, I can only recommend going to, especially European Academy. I'll have there's another thought about that maybe as well, because now we're going to my personal membership journey, because I want to share you just how it can go and how just give you some inspiration on where you can start your very own journey. But it starts all with, why are we here again? And you heard when you were typing, why have you joined JCI? Best case would be it all comes down again to the JCI mission, because then we have done our jobs right in the local organizations to promote especially those development opportunities and those leadership development opportunities that everybody's talking about. Because if you give, you can also receive something in return. And that's also why we have to invest a bit. That's why JCI is not for just giving away business cards, right? That's why we have to be active. We have to involve ourselves into the projects in order to learn. If you don't go the way, you cannot expect the skills that you earn on the way. So you have to walk. You have to make the experience your own. So let's go. It started like this, and it looks maybe a bit overwhelming. It should not. I will guide you through it. So that's the first part. So it has different levels. So I started on a local level. That's what the little house means. And as we all do, we start as members, right? And as I mentioned, we start as confused members. Confused members usually don't have gained many skills. They have many questions, and they have maybe many wishes. One of my wishes, why have I joined JCI, was I was a student, and I was a student of psychology, sociology, and communication sciences. And this not necessarily leads to a job. So that is such a broad field that it is not clear where you're going to be after that. So it's not engineering, right? So I was a student, and I was like, I'm in my 20s and I barely know adults. So I only knew other students. I was like, I really want to get a new network. I don't want to be around the students all the time. I want to learn how does the world work outside of the university. And that's how I joined JCI, honestly. I wanted to get to know adults and see what I found. So it was like, this is JCI, right? The magic. And I also wanted to grow my network. And 1 year after I joined JCI in one organization, I moved. So that was the first time I noticed, okay, this is the magic of the network. Because the first thing that I did when I moved to a new city was like, do they also have JCI? Maybe I can get to know them. Maybe I have a network here as well, because I'm a people person, you might have noticed. And you always look for a network. Being in a new city, knowing nobody was crazily scary for me. And JCI gave me this coverage. JCI gave me this network. So it was the first time when I was like, there's something to it. So maybe I should do a bit more. Now you have those people. And it was a way bigger organization, so way more opportunities. And I discovered so many more things. It also makes a difference where you join the organization. So again, make sure that you offer as many opportunities as possible so people can choose what they want to pick. But as we see in local organizations, they sometimes go to that or this or another direction. That also limits the opportunities in a sense. Other than that, you don't always have to do it on your own. I know, for example, Kim is from a very new local organization, and it's crazy to offer everything at once. But again, then you have your country, right? So just try to network and try to show what is possible. I started working in projects, and I gained some skills, which were, of course, project management, communications, but also, yes, you learn how to be frustrated and not going crazy over it. And you're very early in the JCI life, maybe learning also how to improvise, because budget is always a thing. Things are changing. People are working voluntarily. That is very different sometimes to what we know from business life. I moved on and I went to the local board as well. So that was already in 2015. And I learned how to be responsible for projects. I learned how to make budget. I learned how a team develops and what does it do if the leader doesn't work, or if the leader works alone, or whatever. Those kind of experiences we make once we go a bit deeper into the rabbit hole, right? So that is nothing that is important, that is obvious to us. It just comes obvious when you are going to be in projects. And you also learn how to run a meeting properly, for example. And you will be surprised how crazy some meetings are at work. So, and how inefficient they are, and how unfun they are, and how JCI manages to make a meeting fun. That was something that was very new to me. And I have to be honest, I didn't discover that meetings can be fun was nothing that I discovered in Germany. So that was something I just discovered when I went abroad. Like, oh, how cool in Denmark they have a DJ at their GA. How crazy. They really have. They always have food, so you should think about those things as well. But circling back to 2015, that was the first time that also mentors came somehow into my life. Those were those people who were like, you should do something like that. I was like, me? I should go to debating? No, never. But yeah, I did. And somebody asked me, hey, there's a free spot in the train the trainer course. Do you want to join? Being a trainer? No, I'm working in marketing. I don't want to be a trainer. Why should I? Well, maybe it's fun. So that's actually, I didn't gain the ability to say no at that time. So I could not say no. And maybe that is also something that is familiar for some of you. In the very beginning, it is hard to say no because everything sounds so friggin' cool. And you don't want to miss out anything once you're a bit there. And you also have to be careful with your energy because that is also something. You can get addicted to the journey, and you can get addicted to all of those things happening and are fun and everywhere. So that was the first time again also that I discovered something that I thought I lost when I was a teenager, and that was FOMO, was the fear of missing out. I didn't have it since I was a teenager, and then I joined JCI and I was like, I need to go to that conference, and I need to do that, and I cannot miss that event. How could I? And you have to be careful how much you can do and how much you put on your plate. So that is also something that I learned on the way. Going further in 2016 to 18, thanks to my mentors, I can say, I entered the stage of state. That is something that is in Finland, we have areas because Finland is also so big, but in the most countries, we don't have that. In Germany, you would have states. And I was in that case, I was in the state of Bavaria, so southern Germany. And I had the opportunity to serve as a regional president of Bavaria, which was at that time responsible for 7 local organizations, roughly 800 members. And I made my way to the state president of Bavaria, which was 4,500 members. So it was quite a big thing. And I was like, yeah, now I made it. I'm JCI right now. I mastered JCI, right? So as a state president, you think you are somebody. And I went to our VP that year, and that was Victor Olsson. And I went to him and told him, "Man, Victor, I'm super, super important. I'm a state president, 4,500 members, blah, blah, blah." And he was like, "Yeah, I'll wait for it." So maybe you're just starting. And I was like, "No, never. I achieved the top, right?" So I'm there. And yeah, I could not know that how right he was in the end. But that is also magic, like showing people where they are at the moment. And still I felt acknowledged. So he was like, that is great, but maybe there's even more. Maybe there's a bigger world out there. And I think that is also something I'm still very grateful for that. And also I still have Kevin Hinn who always says the best is yet to come. Maybe you have heard him saying that as well. SG Kevin always quotes that. And that is also very, very true. The best is yet to come if you allow it to enter your life. And yeah, so I made my way to the state board. I learned how to speak in public. I learned how to, yeah, also work together with partners, those kind of skills. But this is just, let's say, just the political career. And what has developed equally at the same time was my training career. And I was never expecting that. So I have to tell, I never aimed for a political career. It just happened kind of in the beginning. So it was not very conscious. Was that smart? Wasn't it? I cannot tell. It just was what it was. So I was not aiming, I was not ambitious reaching some kind of level, but it was more about, okay, that could be something where I could make a difference if I would do it. That is always a question I ask myself. Would it make a difference if I do it? Or is it an opportunity I take away from somebody else? If I mastered it, I'm out. If I would not learn anything from it, I'm out. So then I'm not the one who should do it. And I take this really seriously because, again, I already learned a lot of skills, and people will ask you to do things. People will ask you to run that project or whatever, and you have to learn to say no in order to survive in that sense. So it's also a thing taking the development opportunities very seriously. So I did some debating, which also escalated in that sense. So I did the same debating, went through all stages until I became a world champion. That was a really cool thing also. And then I resigned from debating because I was like, that's it. So where to go next, right? So now other people can compete. Then, yeah, I told you about the state president, which was already a very political role. But you also had to, so we were working in Germany, for example, very closely with the parliaments and tell them what the young people and young leaders expecting from them, and have exchange. Like we have an also know-how transfers on that level. And I learned how to develop a team. I learned how to create a vision for people. So that was the first time I did that. And that led me to national board. In the national board, I was responsible for training in the beginning, and then I became a deputy president and also national president. And of course, what you learn on this level, it was surprising to me, but it was crisis management on a very big level. Because maybe some of you might remember that there should be a European conference in Germany. Somebody maybe remembers, on a cruise ship. And this had to be planned, and this had to be shut down. And that was basically my year as a deputy president and of national president Carmen, which I really admire because we did so much work for something that didn't happen. So that's always the joke, that I think I never worked so much for something that never happened. And yeah, that's also a big, big learning. Also international diplomacy and those kind of things was something that also came along with this learning, and which became crucial when I became a national president, because I was a national president in 2022. And Europe was shattered in 2022, if you remember that as well. So that was really something. I was happy that I had those connections. I was happy that I was a trainer already European-wide. So I made a joke when I became national president, and it's really true. I looked at the national presidents of Europe, and I was like, I have no problem with them because I maybe trained 2/3 of them. So I saw them in some kind of trainings already. And I was like, I know them, I love them, they're great people. We're going to have a great year on European level. And that was something that I really, really loved. And that was really important also in this year. And again, I also was head trainer in Germany, and I entered the European Academy for several years. That was also something that is very, very dearly to my heart. And if you have any incoming local presidents who have not been to Sweden yet, they still can apply. And I would really encourage you to apply for that, because this thing is nothing less than life-changing. And yeah, and this all came down to one thing, and that was my business right now. So I became, in 2020, I became a self-employed trainer and coach. And I chose myself the topic of positive leadership because that is something JCI taught me as well. And that is something that I really wanted to deepen. And that is when I could finally tell my parents, this is why I do it. This is now it pays off. Now I had all those hours. And this is why I missed all those birthdays. Finally, it pays off. Maybe you know that as well. So yeah, no, jokes aside, it was really like I had to do it because I was growing so much along the way to last year. And last year I had the absolutely incredible honor to serve as a vice president, in that case, for the Nordic countries. I did the whole North Star tour, as I called it, and I really, really loved it. It was the best thing ever. So all of the positions were great. Everything I experienced was great. And I could apply everything last year. And you know what I learned last year? Maybe as the most important learning, it was to rest. Because this is so demanding. You exit the plane and people expect you to be fun and enthusiastic from moment one. That is what they deserve. It's not a strange expectation. It is what they deserve because they have prepared so much. And that's also why I think they deserve my best me. And that's why I had to learn to rest in the plane and the 20 minutes in the car and whatever. And of course, you are a servant leadership. This is maybe something that you have not learned before, that I haven't learned before in that extent and whatever. But yeah, that was a wonderful year, and I only can tell this is. It was nice to be the most outstanding VP. That is a cool thing to have. I will not lie, but what I experienced throughout this year, nobody can take away. And it was worth every sleepless night. It was worth every tear. And it was also worth everything that I had to learn before. Because again, if you skip one of those steps, you might miss it on the next step. You can go faster to from A to B, but then you will have to learn what you would have learned a bit earlier, right? So if you want to really accelerate what you can achieve in the next step of your membership journey, you should also be aware that that you should learn what the lessons could have been the day before or the station before. So that is, I also said it's out of X. I don't know. I still have 4 more years, so who knows what happens. I really love to be part of this organization, and that is it so far. And until today, this year I'm excited to be a trainer, and yeah, that's my journey. And I really love to share some more parts with you about how to use this knowledge now in attracting other members, because a lot of things have happened in my life in the past years. So if you just read this, how could you pay some trainer to teach you those things? What had to happen in real life again so you could learn all those things? Just imagine. It's impossible. It is impossible to have those positivity, to have this development opportunities. You wouldn't have them in real life. And this is why JCI is such a crazy incubator. And this is why it's such an incredible, life-changing ride if you just let it. And it doesn't mean that you have to go the same way as I did. So that's not what I'm talking about, but being aware of what is possible. Let's talk about some strategies on how to use this knowledge also in your local organizations and in your national organizations in order to make the people join and also in order to make the people stay. One thing I can just, I didn't have to recommend is creating a welcoming environment. I've been talking about that before, because if you don't understand what's happening there, how welcomed can you feel? Or if there's nobody who would talk to you at an event when you're the first time there, how welcome will you feel? How likely are you to return? If nobody, I don't know, if you don't know what they are doing, those kind of things. Just be open, be welcoming, maybe assign a buddy or whatever you do in your local or national organizations, or as Christina said, assign a mentor that talks through. So why are you here? What could be in for you? What could we offer you? And then people can decide which is maybe their part of the journey. But first they have to understand where they are. And whenever we feel welcomed, we will give way more than it is expected. And that is also part of the positive leadership aspect that I'm talking about. And yeah, decide who you want to work with, because it's all voluntarily. If people don't want to work with you, they will just not come. That's all. They will just not show up. And that's why we have to be good leaders, right? So that is something I wish for every working place in the world, that people can show up because they want to. Again, to do that, you also have to implement effective processes. That means what happens when a member or interested party comes to your organization? What happens next? So what are the steps? And not just have to invent it every time again. So it's really about, do we have a process? Do we have forms? Do we have, again, somebody who is assigned to support them? Do we have somebody who will take them by the hand and tell them, you have to go to Oulu? We already booked the hotel room and you will be my roomie and it will be awesome and you have to go to Oulu and there are going to be trainings and whatever. Or to your national organizations or whatever, carpool to some kind of events. Because again, let the organization work for you. You don't have to invent everything in your own local organization. That is not possible, but let the existing organization work for you. And show the people everything that is possible. Then again, give the people something to do. Because if they have something to do, they, of course, feel more responsible. And it's not just, of course, there are always people who are more like consuming what JCI offers. And I think that is okay. I think that is fair. I don't think that is something that we should, I don't know, complain about yet. We are not a gym, right? So people don't pay there and don't go. It's all about them to be involved. So we should always aim for as much as people possible that people are engaging in projects, that they are in initiatives and activities, so we can create that momentum that it takes to have impact. If you're always the same 3 or 4 people, you might know it in the smaller organizations. Then sometimes at one point you're going to be tired. One point you'll be like, why should I do that again? Right? So you need this freshness, you need this new ideas, and you need always that somebody new joins and will also support and will make again their journey valuable and not just go in your footsteps. It's all about making their journey. Then, of course, what happens just magically along the way is that you will make friendships for life. I can tell that some of my most important friends, I don't know them the longest, but I know them very deeply because I know that we have shared values. I know that we have solved problems together in the organization. I know that I was allowed to learn from them or teach them something. So that is, again, we shared some part of our membership journey, and now we have become inseparable. That is a gift that comes with JCI as well. And that's also remember, some of the people joined because of the network and because of the friends. And this is truly something JCI delivers. I never felt awkward at a JCI party, but I can tell I felt awkward at many other parties. So that is, when you're going to the club, is quite frankly spoken different to going to a conference, right? Sometimes it is exactly like that. Being aware that we are gifted with so many great people around us, and that those connections are not self-evident, especially when you're looking into other organizations, maybe where it is all about business cards, where it is all about business. This might be also a problem at that point. And last but not least, celebrations. That is really a thing, right? So we have the pins, we have the most outstanding VP whatevers, right? We have the shirts, we have the parties. Yeah, it's all about celebrating milestones. It's acknowledging process. It's acknowledging also successes that we share together. It's about the awards, celebrating the effort of the members. That is all about making people recognize. And I think that is also a big reason why some of the members join the organization, because we have this great positive culture and we have this recognitions and we have those kind of concepts to cheer for each other. So being happy that somebody achieved a milestone, being happy that somebody will I don't know, run a project or something like that, cheering to each other, supporting each other. That is all about also the strategies that will definitely helping others on their journey and helping you to encourage them if you were allowed to experience that before. And yeah, one thing is you can share your knowledge, maybe. One thing is you can share your experience. If you were a award winner last year, you will maybe teach others on how to do it this year. Because it's not about, you cannot win JCI, right? It's about staying in the game. It's about sending others on their journey. So this welcoming environment and also building the meaningful connections is obviously something that is very important for you guys. And I can totally relate to that. Maybe you know this book, maybe you don't, now you know. So there is the book, it's called Big Panda and Tiny Dragon. And which is more important, asked Big Panda, the journey or the destination? The company, said Tiny Dragon. So yeah, going this membership journey all alone is not fun at all. And that's not what it's all about. And that's also maybe visible in your votes, telling that the environment and also the friendships that we gain are the most important things. At least in my perspective, that is visible in that as well. So let's go further and implement your new knowledge. And therefore, I would invite you to go into 3 groups. You will have 7 minutes of group work. And in those 7 minutes, I would ask you to answer in each group 1 question. What we're about to do in those groups is the following. Each group has 1 question they can solve. And in each group, you're also asked to fill in a doc so we can talk about it later on. You will find it in the chat. And the following questions are the ones I'd like you to discuss about. And the first one is, how can we use the membership journey to attract potential members? How can we support new members to follow their membership journey? So once we got them, how can we support them? And how can we also make this whole magic being more visible outside of the organization? Because sometimes we're just in the JCI bubble, but how can we offer development opportunities if we don't open up that bubble and make it visible? So those are the 3 questions. Once more, those are the 3 questions, and those are the URL. And you can also use what you find in the chat. Is there any question before we send you off? Please don't forget to assign a speaker. You will have 1 minute per group just to present the overall outcome. Please make some notes so we can share it. And please don't forget to assign a leader of the group who will also present afterwards in 1 minute. Thank you so much. Yeah, the participants are great indeed. And they also have the patience with us that we went a bit over time. But nevertheless, I am super happy about the results. We will share them with you. And thank you also, Slavik, for all your support. And of course, for organizing all of this here. And yeah, we wouldn't be JCI if we wouldn't end on a high note and end with an inspirational quote in that sense. And what I want to really reinforce is that leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It is about one life influencing another. And that is what the whole membership journey is about. This is what we can be proud of. Those are the stories we want to share when we are old. Those are the stories we share with our people. And this is also what we are creating. It's nothing less than magic. I'm super grateful that you joined tonight, and I'm very, very grateful and excited to hear more from you and to follow your membership journeys.